Are you ready? Can Crushers. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock them out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Got a shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody. Power driving, hit them with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break them, let's go. Yeah. Can Crushers. Yeah. Can Crushers. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Fighting Spirit, Trevor Terry, and you're listening to the Can Crushers Podcast. Mark is the fighting spirit of all podcasts.
Welcome back to another Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez, and this is kind of a little bit of a different episode here on Can Crushers, even for the spotlight, is I'm going to welcome in my friend, longtime listener / podcaster himself, Ryan Mosley of The Final Count. And we're going to kind of just touch on a few things, some OVW stuff, some state of wrestling, what we see, and what's hot, we haven't touched base in a while. So it's always good to have my buddy come back on the show and do a little, let's see what he's thinking compared to what I'm thinking type of podcast, and roll with it. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. I'm super excited about it. There it is. I always get super excited, and you guys know that. Just to kind of touch base with another podcaster and say, what's your thoughts? What's going on? What he sees in OVW comparative to what I'm seeing on the OVW TV, essentially, because he's going live all the time. So, yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Sit back, relax, and enjoy all of it. But we have to do our due diligence, and we have to tell you, guys, you know when you're going to order something, Christmas, I know, me of all people, the kiddos like Christmas and this, that, and the other, but if you're going to order anything from shop.com, www.shop.com, check out on our website, on our socials, whatever, and you'll help support the podcast as well. We have kind of like a promo code, a link, an affiliate to guide you through. It'll bring you to some of the hottest topic things on the shop, and so on and so forth. So make sure you check out that link that we have. It's in every podcast show notes as well. So that's an easy way. Once you click on the show notes, boom, you're there. You'll be able to jump and do some Christmas shopping. And like I said, it helps support Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Also, don't forget to check out Collar and Elbow. Hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool stuff that Al Snow and the Hooligans have down at Collar and Elbow. Check them out. I essentially have my Dusty Rhodes shirt on right now. Yeah, I know, I finally washed my Macho Man one. So I have my Dusty Rhodes one on, getting ready to talk a little wrestling with Ryan Mosley. And yeah, go check them out. Use our promo code CANCRUSHERS. All one word, capital C and Can, capital C and Crushers, and you'll save 10%. I am super stoked in the last year of where we've been picked up by. I mean, I told you when me and Sir Michael Jenks talked during the weekend, it's really awesome to see just all these links popping up saying, hey, your podcast is picked up by this one, your podcast is picked up by this one. I have legitimately lost count, and I'm not patting ourselves on the back, but I'm patting ourselves on the back because it is honestly, for a podcaster, really cool. iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, TuneIn Radio, Alexa, Google Play, Castbox, Spotify, Buzzsprout, iHeartRadio, Bullhorn, Podchaser, the WrestlePost app, Pandora, Podchaser, and don't forget IMDb, which is really cool. And then the seamless one, Podurama. Guys, Podurama has an amazing deal out right now. If you sign up for their lifetime membership, one, it's 50% off, and it's seamless. Every time you listen through a podcast through Podurama, It goes from your phone to your computer to your laptop to wherever you're listening. It just continues to roll and everything stays together. It's really awesome. The numbers are on there, so you know what episode you are as you're rolling in. Isn't it awesome that this is episode 497 for Can Crushers? You'll see that. You'll see all the show notes. So if you want to buy something from WWEshop.com, the show notes are right there. Click on that. Everything is there. It's just an amazing deal. Again, 50% off your lifetime membership with Podurama and Seamless. Where can you find us? Well, Sir Michael Jenks says we're on FarmersOnly.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. So join in the conversation. All of it's at CanCrusher69. So you'll find us there. You want to be part of the email group? Cool. Send us an email. If you're a wrestler and you'd love to be on the show, we're inviting you right now. CanCrusher69@gmail.com, or slide into any of our DMs, and that'll be cool too. Guys, we're about a week away from episode 500, and we have some cool stuff planned for you there. But we would love to get some of your memories, some of your shout-outs, some of your hate, whatever you want to tell us. Go ahead and call 1-814-299-6687. You have 3 minutes. I'm not going to answer. It is a voicemail. Go ahead, call in. Tell us anything you want. You will be part of episode 500 because I am only going to grab all these voicemails the day that me and Sir Michael Jenks are recording episode 500. We're going to play them on the spot. We're going to react to them right then and there, and it's going to be awesome. I know some have rolled in because they do come to my phone, so I see when they roll in, but I don't look at them. That's just it's me because I'm nosy. You guys have known that over the years. Come on. So call that number and give us your thoughts on Can Crushers, some wrestling memories that you'd like to bring up, anything. Congratulations for hitting 500. That would really be awesome too. Again, 1-814-299-6687. All right. Here comes Al Snow to tell you more about Collar and Elbow, all the sweet swag that he has, like this Dusty Rose shirt that I have. Again, he has more. The original ones, Shad Gaspar, one for Animal that passed away. He has memorial ones like that. Macho Man inspired with Al Snow in head. It's purple. I look great in it. They're super comfy. So, yeah, do that. After Al, homeboy, Ryan Mosley to come on to kind of talk state of wrestling, I guess we're going to call this one, here on Can Crushers.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. 2 entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
This is Shalonce Royale. And if you're not listening to Can Crushers, like, what are you doing? You need to listen. You have to listen.
And welcome back to Can Crushers, guys. You heard how excited I was to have longtime friend, great listener, another podcaster in himself, the man, the myth, the legend of the Final Count, Mr. Ryan Mosley. Ryan, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing amazing. I'm glad to be back on Can Crushers with my buddy Mark right here. How thank you for asking me to do this, by the way.
This has kind of become like a quarterly, maybe half yearly. Don't throw me against the wall for numbers, but we kind of always meet up just to pick each other's brains about, we both have podcasts. We talk all the time offline about what we think is going on and everything, but we should just put it together more often than not because it makes for a great show. We both have different ideas and this, that, and the other, so I figured this would be the great week to do it. And we're getting close to 500, so I had to get you on before 500 as well, right?
Of course. Like, how could we not get together? And I do agree. We need to do this more often for sure.
We do. So, since you're the guest, I will be nice this time because apparently I've been being mean. Some of the Can Crushers listeners have said that, I'm the heel of the podcast recently with me and Michael Jenks. So, I don't know. Apparently I'm the heel, so I'm going to defer to you for the first topic that you want to bring up, and then we'll discuss it.
Okay. I'm going to not go in any order. I was thinking about going in order, but since you're letting me go first, let's see here. My first topic I want to talk about is, does WWE just not know where they're going with the bloodline on a week-to-week basis? And the reason I say this, okay, and granted, we had the passing of Bray Wyatt, the passing of Terry Funk as well, and we had all the loss last week. But we had, 2 weeks ago, that Jay was on SmackDown and he quit. He quit SmackDown. And so where I'm going with this is, how come 2 weeks later, here we are and Payback hits, and for those that have not seen Payback hits, and we get the announcement that Jay Uso's coming to Raw. Like, what was the meaning of that break for 2 weeks?
Right. I completely agree with you on this, because if you saw probably the day after he, and I'm put air quotes around quit anymore, the WWE, the Survivor Series poster was posted or released or whatever, and he was on it already. Like, come on. Can you not market right? Can you not have your storylines in line? But I understand what you're saying. He's been off longer for an injury than he was off for quitting. And for Cody Rhodes to bring him back, I don't think they do know. I love the blood. I'm starting to get stale on it, by the way. But I loved the bloodline story. I did. But it is getting a little bit rum-dum, and it feels like it's going to be force-fed for a little bit, I think, because we're going to get the Jimmy, we're going to get the Solo, but it's got to be fast because we're going to kind of turn around and get back to Cody, right?
I'd have to say so for sure. And another thing that brought this on, and forgive me if I'm ruining or giving a spoiler here, but from last night's Raw, forgive me for this, but there was the direction that they were going with Jay, for example. You got Dominic, for whatever reason, comes over and says, "Oh, me and you are, a lot alike. We both come from broken families and things like that." Like, what? And then he's all this confrontation. Like, yes, I understand you have to tell the story of, okay, people are going to be like, "Oh, can I trust this guy? He was part of that bloodline. Can I trust him?" Here he's not now. We don't know if he's going to be sincere about everything, but still, to me, it feels like they don't know where they're going, and they're just kind of making it up on the fly.
Yeah, because as well, we'll probably get more in depth on it on Saturday with the show, but just to touch on it a little bit now, Sami Zayn's back involved with Jey Uso too now. It's just rinse and repeat now for the WWE and the Bloodline.
It is. It really is. I don't know what. And then another thing, and I'm sure you'll talk about this on Saturday as well. That Adam Pearce mentioned something about a trade. Well, what if they just decide to trade Jay back to SmackDown? And when he said that, that's what instantly popped into my mind. Like, what if Jay's just automatically, for whatever reason, traded back to SmackDown?
Right, because there's been nonsensical trades since the brand split that they're not explained. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it is because Rhea kind of whispered something to Dom. He's main event Jey Uso. They don't want him around maybe Judgment Day. That's why Dom went over to kind of throw out an olive branch or something like that. I don't know. I really agree with you, Ryan, that it's just like, here's a bloodline. Let's see what we do this week.
Right. Exactly.
My first one for you, and this one hits home for you, I'm sure. How excited are you for next week, Netflix to release OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestlers, their series, their special, or whatever, Wrestlers?
I have to say, like, I'm like so hyped about this. Like, I'm seriously, I don't have Netflix right now, but I can guarantee you that I will find a way to get Netflix. I will get Netflix by the 13th, and I will be watching the first episode and checking it out. I'm so hyped, so excited for OVW. As much of a longtime fan as I am of OVW, I'm so hyped and so excited to see them get this big notoriety, more than they already so have, because they're nationally and internationally known. And so, like, I'm greatly excited about this, because I feel like it's gonna put a lot more eyes that wouldn't have known of or heard of OVW them being on Netflix.
I completely agree. I completely agree with everything you said. Again, we're always on the same page, which is kind of scary, by the way. But yeah, I'll put it this way, this should blow up OVW even more. I mean, what Rip and Al and everybody, the lineage of OVW has, is worldwide known, but it's hard to find for some people. Some people find it on YouTube. Locally, you guys have it on local TV down there and everything. But if it's going on Netflix and it's going to be centered around, a few more notable ones there, but you're going to get, this is what I'm thinking, you're going to get a lot of matches showcasing this person, that person, this person. The only person I don't want to see on screen a lot is Daniel Spencer.
Oh, yeah. We don't want to see a lot of Daniel Spencer on Netflix. Can you imagine his ego after being on Netflix? I'm sorry. I love you, Daniel.
I don't. So, I do. I love him. Listen, he's an Impact Wrestling referee, OVW head referee, and he tries to have a podcast to compete with me and Ryan's. It's called Ringside Podcast or something. I don't know. He still didn't ever have the first banner up in Davis Arena. Can Crushers did. So I'll leave it at that. So when that stirs the pot and he calls me, thank you very much. But to get back on Wrestlers, this is cool because it's also going to showcase, like, I'm going to probably see you in the crowd a lot, along with a lot of the other people I met the few times I was down in Kentucky. And that's, for me, that'll give me those dad feels, that warm feeling that I'm like, oh, man, I've been in Davis Arena. I know this person. I know that person in the crowd. And just to see how they put this together, I want it to be wrestling, but I also want it to be wrestling with a docuseries around it, because I'm really not sure. I haven't deep dove into what it is, because I want to be surprised in general when I watch it on the 13th.
Yes, and I think, like, that we're all going to be surprised, because, like, just by, hearing the talks, with some of the guys and girls that I've talked to in OVW that recently, that, that they don't even know specifically what exactly, like, is going to be on there for sure. Like, they know what was filmed, obviously, that they were a part of, but they don't know what's going to be on what episode. And I believe there's going to be like 6 or 7 episodes of it. And so, like, that's going to be very interesting to see, what they use and what they don't use.
Yeah, it's going to be everybody. You remember the show The Office? I'm sure you do, right? The Office?
Yeah.
It's going to be like all the wrestlers in OVW sitting around a computer that day, or on their tablets or phones or whatever, trying to see what episode they're in. And they're like, oh my God, they put that on? Why did they put that? That's the first thing I thought about. Like, Al Snow is going to be Michael Scott that day.
Right, exactly.
Love you, Al. All right, you got your next one up?
So my next one, and this is a topic that people have been, especially with the last couple Sundays, the last 2 Sundays actually, regarding AEW. And actually, it also regards WWE. So we all know that CM Punk was fired from AEW. So the big question, the big rumor, I guess, going around the rumor mill right now is that CM Punk is possibly, a lot of people are thinking this, that he's going to go back to WWE. And I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that this is not the case. So my question is, does CM Punk return to WWE, or does he just stay out of the wrestling business as a whole?
Yes and no.
And because, I just...
Give me your thoughts first.
The guy seems like lately he's been like more of a problem than a help.
Yes. Again, agree. We said that when he first came to AEW, he seemed, and listen, everybody knows, and you know as well, got CM Punk tattoo. I loved everything he's done. I think he's a great worker, this, that, and the other thing. But I'll preface this to say, the first time he came to AEW, he seemed filled with joy, and he really was spewing the right things, and you didn't hear anything until 6 months down the line when the first brawl out happened, and then he was on the shelf for so and so time, and then it was because of an injury. Actually, there really might not have been a brawl out, and they just seemed to be hiding things a little bit on AEW as well. So this time, I don't think it's hidden. I really don't think it's hidden. And if I'm going to get played, I'll put it that way, I think he's really gone this time from AEW. I really do. I don't know if WWE has the cojones to pull this off. I really don't, because I don't think him and Trips have really made up yet. And again, money is the root of all evil, but it heals everything in the world, right, Ryan?
Oh, exactly. 100%. 100%.
I honestly would hope, if he wants to do wrestling, I would wish he would have to be humbled a little bit. And the only thing he's got to do is indies for a while. Like, any indie place will give him money to come and put their ticket sales up and everything. I would completely agree with that. Would he humble himself to get back down to kind of his roots to see, if I'm really going to help these kids that I'm saying I'm helping, will I do this the right way? Just to be thrown back in WWE right now, you don't tell me he's going to be wanting to be around a title instantly.
Exactly. There's no doubt in my mind that he would want to be right there chasing that WWE title, and he'd want to be the one holding it. And I just I was a fan of Punk when he came back. When he came in to AEW, I was a fan there right around the pipe bomb era of WWE. I was a fan of his back then, and even before he started all the backstage drama and everything. It's just, we don't need that in the wrestling business. We don't need, and I agree with you. He needs to be humbled. He needs to humble himself and just go work the indies. Go back and work the indies and learn to appreciate, just that you're a part of the business.
Yeah, I agree. So I had CM Punk listed as well. So that kind of crosses off one of mine. So go ahead and do your next one as well, because that was actually where I was going to.
So my next one, where do you see Edge landing? Does he go to AEW? Does WWE offer him a better deal, or does he just retire for good? I'd love to see him go to AEW.
I think that's definitely in the making. In my wrestling heart of hearts, I think he would love. Christian just re-signed recently, 2 days ago or so, whatever, over the weekend. I think he wants one more, and I'm not speaking for him. This is just a wrestling fan and a nosy, guy that digs into wrestling stuff. I think he wants one more run with Christian. He can be on that same type of schedule as Bryan Danielson, where just showing up is going to move the needle for AEW. And then kind of Saraya, where she wrestles once a month. He can be that Undertaker, so to speak, for AEW, wrestle the big cards, but not any other time. And I think as wrestling fans, we'll be okay with him doing it because he's earned it. And my thoughts, he wouldn't be a problem in the locker room. When have you ever heard anything about Edge? So, yeah, I think he goes AEW before he even thinks about going back to WWE.
No, I agree. I completely would love to see him personally go to AEW and have that closure, if you will, with Christian and see them have one more run, maybe as the AEW tag team champions. And then also love to see him be the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Why not? Even if he's just, like you said, doing a part-time thing in AEW as well. But then if he also continues to stay with WWE, if he does sign a new deal with them, like you said, we'd be happy just to see him once, twice a year, something like that, like The Undertaker. Because there are those special moments. And so I don't want to see him retire, but if he does choose to, if he does choose to hang up the boots for good, which I don't think he will, then so be it. But I don't believe that he's going to.
Yeah, if he decides to say, hey, I did my thing, weird match to go out on, by the way, but nonetheless, we can maybe discuss that at a different time, because it wasn't really a barn burner. It was a good match between him and Sheamus, but, it's just a SmackDown, essentially.
Right.
But it was in his hometown. I get that. So don't hate on me for saying that. But there's also a rekindle feud right off the bat if he goes to AEW and Christian kind of gets out of his ways of what he's doing, storylines and everything. Could we get an Edge and Christian and Hardy Boys match one more time?
I would love to see that. That would be, yeah. I would love to see it. And, could you imagine here, 2024, could you imagine Edge and Christian versus the Hardys at next year's All In Wembley Stadium?
Right. Doesn't that sell the other 90,000 tickets that they could have sold that night as well?
Definitely.
I did see, this isn't a question, it actually just popped into my head. I did see AEW come into the Yum Arena down in Louisville. You heading there?
Yes, definitely. In November, it's the first Wednesday in November. I believe it's the 8th or something. November 1st, I believe it is.
It is the first, yep.
And so, yeah, I'm excited. This will be my first AEW show. I haven't been to any of the AEW shows yet, of any of the times that they've been in Kentucky. And so I'm excited to go ahead and make this my first show seeing AEW live.
Unbelievable show. When you go to WWE show, when they go to commercial, right? You know,
yeah.
Boom. You don't know when they go to commercial in AEW. Stuff just still is going awry, and they're like, "All right, next match," and you're like, "Wait, what? Isn't there supposed to be a commercial break?" The two that I went to, it's just boom, 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 boom. It's just so fast paced that you're there for ROH, and then you're there for Dynamite or Collision. Well, I don't know which one's good. It's got to be Dynamite if it's a Wednesday, bonehead. And then you're there for Rampage as well. That 4 hours that you're there is 30 minutes long. It's that quick. And it's action packed. It's amazing. If you've never been to an AEW, folks, go. Go, 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 go. You'll enjoy it if you're a wrestling fan.
For sure. It's definitely an exciting thing that Louisville and Kentucky in general is getting so many big shows. So it's really an exciting thing for the state of Kentucky.
It really is. It really is. I wish Pennsylvania. Well, we're getting WrestleMania next year. Maybe we are getting WrestleMania. But again, it's Philadelphia in April, folks. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold. All right, so mine's like a twofold question here before I let you go again. What are some things that you're really liking, and it's a generic question, but you'll get to the meat and potatoes of it, that you're really liking in professional wrestling right now?
Something I'm really liking in professional wrestling right now. Oh, I'd have to think about that. I don't know. I'm really liking the Judgment Day story right now. Like I'm really like what they're doing with that. I like the story that they're telling there. I like how they're how WWE is, just showing the variety with each and every one of the individuals in the Judgment Day. I love the Dominic or Mommy and
Dom Dom.
Dom Dom, yeah, Mommy and Dom Dom. I love that. They're such a great pair right there. I love them. I love to see like the thing with how they're bringing JD McDonough and bringing him in with the Judgment Day. I just love what they're doing and how they're making them like they said last night. We are the dominant force in WWE right now, and so I just love what they're doing with the Judgment Day right now. It's exciting to see.
It is. To piggyback that, will they have all the titles on Raw shortly?
I'd say we get hey, I mean we get JD McDonough into the group officially. He's got to get a title eventually. I mean, so I'd love to see it.
My thoughts are, though, still on this, and it took me a while. I always have that slow burn before I really go full-fledged. I do love the Judgment Day now. I love everything about them, but I think I'm catching on late to loving the Judgment Day because I think the breakup's coming, though. Don't you see it?
You do. And I love the teasers to that. I do love the teasers to that. And Damian Priest and I love though that the glue to the Judgment Day is Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
She is literally the glue that is holding the thing together.
She is. She's the leader. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody on paper, it might be Finn, if you want to say, since he took it away from Edge. Rhea's the leader of this.
She really is. She's the dominant force, so to speak, in the Judgment Day.
I lost track of the next thing I was going to ask you. Oh, that's what it was. To piggyback that then, what don't you like in professional wrestling right now? And it doesn't need to be a storyline. It could be something that's scathing. I mean, we just talked about CM Punk, so you're not allowed rehashing that. But something that's scathing in the wrestling world that you're like, man, I wish that would just leave and stop the business.
Well, let's jump back over to AEW for that one. I'd say the gimmick matches on every single episode that they have. I don't have to have blood every single match. I don't have to have gore and everything for every single match. If you want to go to a show that has gore, then there's gore shows like Game Changer Wrestling. There's shows like GCW for stuff like that. If you want something like that, I can't deal with the blood and guts and gore and all that in every single match. Yes, you can have it, but there needs to come a point where it's for a reason, not just to have it.
I agree. I completely agree. It needs to be part of the story. It really does. Now, the Stadium Stampede, like that specific match, understand-wise. But if it's just Jon Moxley, and I'm going to throw him because that's essentially who we're both talking about, right? You can hate on both of us for saying this, and really don't hate on Ryan, hate on Mark. Jon Moxley against, and I know he's not there, El Fuego. There's no reason why Moxley should be bleeding in that match. None.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, I do want to, because I want to make this a statement too. On the flip side of using the blood and guts and gore and all that, if you're going to call something a hardcore match, and I'm talking to WWE with this, if you're going to call something a hardcore match, make it actually have, do something hardcore. I mean,
Are you talking
Other
about the
than
Street
just a
Profits
table
match
spot.
the other day? Yeah.
I mean,
We ripped that apart last week. It was a
I was
Terry
there
Funk
for the
Memorial
match,
hardcore
for
match
that.
or whatever. It was
Yeah, I was
horrible.
there for that match, which happened here in Louisville, and like it just, I'm like, you're calling this a hardcore match? Terry Funk would probably have been disgusted with that match. If that was
Rolling
to
in his
honor
grave
him.
already.
I mean,
Yeah. Really just disgusted by. I mean, yeah. And that was one of the things. I have two more things. And that was, I knew you were in Louisville for the Bray Wyatt Memorial SmackDown, essentially is what we're going to call it. Give me the in-person feels about that, because I was doing my fantasy football draft watching it, and I'm crying just watching it on TV when you guys all started to sing in the hug from Strowman to Rowan, and then you as a crowd, you guys just kept singing Bray's entrance, and WWE gave it to you longer than I think. I think they wanted that last shot to be kind of the rocking chair, but they knew, ooh, this is more powerful, that we have to pan the crowd one more time, go late into a commercial break or whatever, because you guys took over that segment in the best way possible.
yeah, it was like, so just being there live and being able to, I said this to some people beforehand. I said, I hate that this is going to be a historic in the way it was, with the loss of Bray, but and Funk for that matter as well. But the fact that it happened here in Louisville while WWE was in Louisville, it was historic for Louisville, for the Louisville wrestling scene, and so like it was just it was awesome to be a part of. Like it was just not awesome because it was a sad. You could just feel the heavy hearts in the building too, and like that video package, I cannot explain how much awesome that video package was. Like
Right.
how much they
Tears.
did Bray justice with that. WWE's production is so top notch. It's so top notch.
We said the same.
And then
We
even
said
like
the same
way
thing
they
last
ended
week.
SmackDown.
Yeah, like
That was pretty a neat thing too. Like having the lantern in the middle of the ring and the smoke and everything. That was, and then we're all seeing all the fireflies lit up. I loved it, and just to be a part of it was, it was definitely emotional for sure. And then also seeing Strowman there and Eric Rowan, I was like, they got to bring in Rowan for this. They have to, and I love that they did.
Did you save your ticket stub? Did you kind of buy something memorabilia-wise to kind of put it away and say, this is because of that show?
I do. I still have the ticket. Yes.
Yeah. My next tattoo appointment is coming up real soon, and I got a Bray Wyatt shirt recently, so that's pretty important to me. But the next time I go to tattoo, I'm just going to put "Let Me In" right somewhere on my sleeve, because, man, 36 and still had a ton of career left and everything that, he was getting ready to bounce back and do for the WWE. This one is just as impactful as Eddie's was.
It most certainly was. I was like, that when I found out about it, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, this is like Eddie Guerrero level of a loss. And I loved Eddie Guerrero. Just, I'm not going to sit here and say I was a fan. Like I wasn't like, for Eddie, I was definitely a fan. Like I was definitely like, I remember he came to OVW at Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom, and I remember, I got to, high five him and everything when he came out. The show didn't even get to happen because it rained and everything. I remember getting to high five Eddie. I never got that experience with Bray, but I did enjoy his work nonetheless. But it was definitely up there with Eddie's passing as well.
Yeah. Let me throw my last one out at you, and then you can throw all of yours out as well. Records. let me just start by records, okay? And you probably know where I'm going. Can WWE not let one record, and I'm kind of salty about this one. It was 35 years. Why now? We know Gunther is an unstoppable force. He's definitely the future of the WWE. He's going to have one of the big championships. Why couldn't we allow the Honky Tonk Man to keep that record? It was something that was prestigious to recognize that era of, I know it was WWF, I understand that, but the WWE, we're just erasing things. We're just saying it didn't happen anymore because we're not going to have a Honky Tonk Man reference again when somebody wins the IC championship or anything. It's all going to be Gunther. What are your thoughts on that? I understand when somebody leaves in a dirty way or whatever, to get rid of the CM Punk one because they had bad history there, or his championship run, this, that, and the other. They don't have bad history with the Honky Tonk Man. So why do we need to erase every record? Why can't there be a callback?
Yeah, and this year, just for whatever reason, seems to be a year of breaking records for WWE. You know, with Roman and now Honky Tonk Man record being broken by, like you said, by Gunther, the record was 35 years long. Nobody had broken the record for 35 years. It doesn't make sense as to, like you said, why do they need to keep doing that? I honestly don't have an answer as to why. I don't get it as much as you do.
Right.
I just...
Plus,
I don't get it.
Spoiler as well, if you guys have not watched Raw or anything. Last night on Raw, because we're recording Tuesday night, by the way, folks. Last night on Raw was probably the hottest time to give it to Gable. Like, Gable is so over. Did they just bury him again?
And see, you're actually kind of leading into my next one.
Okay, go ahead then. Good.
Right here. So, like, I wish that they would have just given it to him. Like, I wish that they... Now, I do still feel like they're going to give it to him.
I do too.
Because, like, when I watch Chad Gable's matches, I see so much of Kurt Angle in him.
Yep.
I see so much of he's like the next Kurt Angle. Not that he's going to be Kurt Angle, but he's like a version of Kurt Angle. And it's just like, when I watch him, that's what I see. And I didn't even realize that he uses Thank-A-Lock either. I did not realize that until last night. And so, like, I wish they would have pulled the trigger on it last night. However, I knew that they was going to not pull the trigger on it.
Oh, yeah.
Because, again, they have this fascination, for whatever reason, for breaking records, especially this year.
Agreed. All right, that's all I have. What else do you have? Well, I have one more thing, but it's your to-do list to do then. So you'll understand. You know, it's podcast talk what I'm talking about. So yeah,
definitely. So we kind of basically touched on this, but I do see, that Chad Gable will be the one that is going to be the one to dethrone Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. So I'll go ahead and skip that one. But this next one I want to talk about is regarding AEW again. Who is going to step up and be the head dog on AEW Collision? Or do they possibly just do away with the show altogether?
I don't think they do away with the show, my thoughts, because all the ratings, and when I think of ratings, I always think back of like my heyday of wrestling and when the ratings are crazy, but they're not crazy anymore. If they get 1 million watchers, they're happy. 1 million watchers in the Attitude Era and even prior to that was like, oh, we had a down week. So I think it's going to be, honestly, either very heavy tag team, and you're going to see a lot of FTR, or Bryan Danielson. I think Bryan Danielson kind of slid into that role this weekend with him taking on Starks, because essentially that was supposed to be Punk. Danielson came back early, still injured, but didn't do things on that side of his body or anything. I think because he was working with Tony backstage a little bit even during this injury, of learning more of the backstage stuff, I think Danielson takes over a lot of that. He's going to be, and I don't know if he wants to be the CM Punk where he has to have 45-minute matches or he's got to have 6 times on camera each week or anything like that, because we made shade of that a couple weeks ago as well. But I think Danielson is going to be very heavily focused. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and no, I'd have to agree with that as well. And I saw a meme. I don't know if it was yesterday or it might have been early today, where someone had shared this meme that said something about 2014 Daniel Bryan was the savior or something like that after Punk, and now here we go, 2023. Bryan Danielson.
That's actually 10 years
is
later.
The savior again, stepping in after Punk.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I feel like that Bryan Danielson will be the one to carry Collision. It boggles my mind, though, still, that AEW went and made this show, created this show all around the guy for one guy.
Yeah.
And yet now this guy's not here. It just boggles my mind.
I want your answer to this, because this is actually a question that myself and Sir Michael Jenks are going to deep dive into this weekend, and I really don't have a thought yet, but it's already just come to mind. Since AEW kind of recognized the real world champion, what do they do with that now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd trash the title for real. I mean, like, real world champion, you got MJF as the AEW world champion, but then you got this other title, the real world championship. What? It's the same title, right?
Well, there's a painted X on it, Ryan. Come on, it's different.
X, yeah.
It's different.
But it all except for the X, it's pretty much the same title,
right?
And so I'm like, that was all just for Punk, anyways.
Yeah, it was.
I do away with the title. Let's just bring in Alundra Blaze and have her put it in the trash.
Boom. It would be back on TNT again, right? It would be the same segment, essentially. Throw Bischoff
It really
up.
would.
It really would. Do you have anything else?
That's all that I have on my end.
This is perfect timing then. See how we know how to time stuff perfectly as well. So, listen, guys. The Final Count, hosted by Ryan, but they are going through some changes on the Final Count, and they're doing a lot of cool stuff. Ryan, it's your turn.
We have a lot of great stuff going on right now. We now have, it's not just Ryan anymore. We now have my buddy. He's actually training at OVW right now, and he'll be okay with me saying this. His name is Chance Krapinski. He is the new co-host of the Final Count, and I'm so excited about having him on board with the Final Count and everything. And it's just going up from here. I do want to announce that, and I've announced this on the Final Count. I've announced this on my podcast as well. And so, like, we are moving up in the world. We are moving up here starting soon. We will have, like, not this come up spotlight, because we do on Tuesdays. We have our spotlights come out, the Final Count spotlight, and then we have on Fridays our review shows, the regular Final Count review shows, and we're excited about that. And so you'll hear me and Chance on Fridays, and then myself and whoever our guest is on the Final Count spotlight on Tuesdays. And so I'm excited about this. But what the announcement is that coming actually next week, so next Tuesday, you'll be able to start hearing and seeing on Tuesdays and Fridays So you'll be able to see in video form and audio of the Final Count Spotlight and the Final Count review shows.
Good
And
for
so we're excited
you
about that.
for the double editing, because listen, I understand that. We've been asked as well. Why don't you go to YouTube? Why don't you do this? I love you, Ryan, and I'm saying this you're going to realize, oh my God, editing audio and then switching over to editing video. It's yes. Good luck. I'm not putting you down. Good. Run with this. Often thought about that, of jumping on both. Man, the technical side of it is a lot, especially if you're going to do, because your weekend shows are actually extending a little bit now too, aren't they?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Run with it, my boy. Run with it. I'm so proud of you, of everything you've done to get the Tuesday show. By the way, we are, if you haven't noticed, we're piggybacking each other each and every day, because that's what we do. We are taking over the wrestling world between Can Crushers and the Final Count. Listen to Ryan's Spotlight on Tuesday. Can Crushers Spotlight is on Wednesday. Ryan's recap is on Friday. Our recap is on Saturday. What else do you need to listen to but us?
Exactly. Like, look no further for your wrestling content.
Yeah, it is. Any spoilers on guests? Everybody on Can Crushers know I don't give spoilers on my guests because I'm that guy, but sometimes you do. You really do. You're nice. You post ahead of time saying, hey, this person's coming on next week. Nope, I don't do that. I'm mean.
I do. I typically give whoever the special guest is for that next week, I give it the week before. And so I will go ahead and announce. So next week's guest will be a former OVW heavyweight champion. He was actually the tag team partner of former WWE star in OVW. He went by the name as APOC in OVW. But in WWE, you knew this guy as his partner. You knew him as one half of the Ascension, Rick Victor.
Nice.
His tag team partner from OVW, former OVW heavyweight champion Von Lilas, will be next week's guest. And that will be, again, the first episode available in video and audio.
Look at that. That's a big one to have for your first video, too.
Yes, it really is. And I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited for the fans to be able to choose, like, hey, do I want to watch or do I want to listen? You know, best of both worlds.
It really is the best of multiple worlds. If there wasn't, again, I keep putting, I'm not putting you down, I'm putting myself down. If there wasn't so much editing on the video side, yeah, we'd be there too. But I'm lazy. There's just way too much going on. That's what I'm actually saying. To like double editing, good for you. Good for you. Run with it, my friend.
That's the plan. That's the plan for sure.
So, Ryan, this has been another kind of great Can Crusher / Final Count State of Wrestling talk to see where our minds are. Didn't want to go too in depth on anything because you'll get that on our shows, right?
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah,
yes.
we're teasing you essentially by saying this, that, and the other. So you listen to our weekly shows on Friday and Saturday, and then our spotlights on Tuesday and Wednesday. So yeah, keep listening, guys. We love you. I will speak for Ryan, and Ryan, I love you. Thank you for coming on the show again.
Right back at you, brother. Thanks for having me.
We definitely need to figure out another one closer than 6 months and rip through this, right?
Yep, I agree. Let's make it happen.
Hey guys, it is the Spark, Jada Stone, and you already know they call me the Spark, but you can be the Spark as well if you tune into Can Crusher podcast because they're amazing over there. So be the Spark with me and tune in.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, that was Ryan Mosley of The Final Count. Make sure you check out The Final Count Tuesdays and Fridays, where podcasts are, essentially. You know, he's chipping away, getting ready to knock off episode 100 here in the near future, so make sure you keep listening. He's got a co-host now and ready to rock and roll. great little tidbits of wrestling back and forth between us. So, again, we don't give away a lot because we want you to listen to the meat and potatoes of the show either on Friday or Saturday when we really deep dive in with our co-hosts and everything like that. So, fun episode here this week, just chatting wrestling with my friend from The Final Count. Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know.